So, let's see here. All right, we are live. So, imagine a nation where every American thrives, where jobs flood back to forgotten towns, and the American dream is alive and well. That's the vision Donald Trump cast in his inauguration speech earlier this morning. So, in this rare live video, I'm going to be breaking down his economic promises and, more importantly, how you can make a difference starting today. So, good afternoon, everybody. Money Smart Guy, Matt Sapali here. I just wanted to do a quick live. I rarely do this, but I thought it was such an important thing for us to see as a country, this inauguration, to see the things that have been happening already. In addition, some of my thoughts here in terms of how we can take full advantage of these next 4 years from an economic standpoint. Now, listen, I'm not a political commentator, but I do, however, recognize and understand that politics has a way of impacting everybody's lives, especially from a especially from a financial standpoint. So, just to quickly recap, Trump's economic vision. Number one is there's actually my notes here, 4 parts. Number one, there's a focus back on American jobs. So, Trump promised to bring back jobs, especially manufacturing, and end offshoring practices. He said in his quote, "We will bring back American jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth." And by the way, I'm excited about that. Listen, if anybody knows that as an entrepreneur, your job as an entrepreneur is not only to make money, but your job is to create jobs. And so that way, we are dependent on no other nation. We're dependent on ourselves. We're independent. We make sure that we're not depending on church, charity, other governments, this government. And I love this focus in on American jobs. Second policy was America First policy. President Trump pledged to prioritize American workers in trade deals, energy production, and infrastructure projects. So when I'm seeing things like this, I'm excited about it because, hey, I want to make sure deals are working in my favor, our favor. He's focusing on renegotiating trade agreements to benefit the U.S. economy. One thing I will say, it's not in my notes, but one thing I will say, as of today, it's no longer called the Gulf of Mexico. It's called the Gulf of America. So there's a lot of things that he's doing to shake things up to make sure it is America First type of policy, America First type of agenda. Third one, and by the way, are you excited about that? Are you excited about making sure that this is an American First agenda? Are you glad that you have a president, regardless if you're Republican or Democrat, you're making sure that somebody's got your back to make sure they're creating trade deals that benefit your home, that benefit the safety of your family here in this country. Infrastructure investment. He promised to rebuild the nation's infrastructure, creating jobs and improving transportation and utilities. Listen, I love this. Listen, as a kid growing up in Chicago, I grew up on the buses and trains. First time I flew on an airplane was going to Marine Corps boot camp in San Diego. And so when you're thinking about infrastructure investment, I was just in New Orleans the other day, yesterday actually. A friend of mine was hosting an event down there. We spoke at his event. We're driving through the roads of New Orleans. I can't tell you how horrible the roads of New Orleans were. Can't tell you how horrible the roads of the French Quarter was. I can't tell you how lack of infrastructure is to get from coast to coast in America. I mean, think about this. If you go to Europe, if you've ever been to Europe, these got trains and railroads all over the place. Trains, railroads, they got transportation going all over the country, all over Europe. America, what do you got? Amtrak? I mean, even from Dallas to Austin, you figure there'd be some form of quick train rail system. From Dallas to Austin, some quick train rail system. From San Antonio to the 4 major cities here, El Paso, to connect interstate, intrastate. You think there'd be some form of railway system outside of just airplanes to get around. And by the way, how would that benefit America? That people can move around America faster and quicker. One of my favorite books to read is Atlas Shrugged. If you ever read the book Atlas Shrugged, the only thing going for America during that book is a efficient railway system. So I love this investment into the infrastructure of America. By the way, didn't we have something like that in the last 4 years? Build Back America Greater Again, something like that. Was America Build Back in the last 4 years greater? Is it back? Is it America? I hope that this goes through in terms of the infrastructure of America. I'm looking at airports too as well. How much we need to improve just the efficiency of airports going from city to city, state to state. Number 4, Trump talked about government accountability. I love this. He called out Washington elites and emphasized returning power to the people. And by the way, part of this process too as well, he's limiting all the jobs of people trying to work from home if you're working from the federal government. Good. If you're working from the federal government, if you're working for the federal government, you have to be in the office working. You know, I run a national company. I run a company that we have independent contractor insurance agents from coast to coast. And I can't tell you how excited we are when we're together. For example, we'll be in Atlanta February 11th to the 13th. We're doing an event there where the key hosts are Tom Hegna, who's a retirement planning specialist. And we've got a CEO founder. We've got the CEO founder of Uncle Nearest Whiskey, who our family invested in a few years ago. I came in later. But to think that Fawn Weaver, who is an American woman, American Black woman, owns a liquor company, Uncle Nearest Whiskey, first non-celebrity Black woman in America to turn a company from scratch to $1.1 billion in sales. She's expanded to cognac. She invested in purchasing the largest vineyard in Cognac, France, owned by an American woman, a Black woman here in America named Fawn Weaver. Well, we will be having her at our event February 11th to the 13th in Atlanta, because we're getting together. So back to accountability. When you are together, accountability is a whole lot easier together, because then you can see through the spreadsheet. You can see through the Zoom cameras. You can see the body language of people giving you accountability, declaring their intention, their leadership position for their department or the division. This is why I love having people in person. And I think a lot of that, the number was like a third of federal employees were working from home. And so listen, you're working from home, man. You're coming back to the office. Otherwise, your job is gone. So here's some takeaways as I wrap up here. Some takeaways. Nationalism in the economy. So there's a major emphasis on producing and buying American-made goods. By the way, are you doing that? Are you buying American-made goods? I've been very conscious of it the last, 5, 6, 7 years. I noticed when I was buying Christmas gifts, I think it was like 7 years ago. I did a video about this too as well on my channel. It's about 5, 6 years ago, where I noticed that when I went to Walmart, when I went to Target to buy Christmas gifts, everything was made in China. Now, good for China, good for trade deals, but if it's coming at the cost of America, that may not be a trade deal that works in our favor. So there's a nationalism in our economy to make sure that we're taking care of one another. I love, as an entrepreneur, I love making sure that if, for example, every cigar lounge I go to, I make sure I buy that cigar lounge's cigars that they make. And before I buy a box from anybody else, I buy a box from that cigar lounge's blend. Right? I want to say, hey, cigar owner, this is your cigar spot. My first time over here. What is your cigar blend? And what does the cigars, what are they modeled? Are they modeled after Davidoff? Are they modeled after Padrones? Are they modeled after Atabes? Are they modeled after Byrons? Are they modeled after God of Fires? What are they modeled after? So I want to buy not only one stick, but I want to buy a box as much as I can, 2436, as I can fit my two hands to take home, just to support that local cigar lounge, because I want to make sure that the cigar lounge is in business, because I want to go back to that cigar lounge. And I want to make sure that I send my friends to go to that cigar lounge, because I want a place to work. I want a place to socialize. I want a place to relax. I want that local cigar lounge to be in business. So therefore, I will support a local business. That's what Trump's talking about in terms of taking care of our own companies. He also talked about lowering taxes. He talked about a commitment to make the tax code simpler and more favorable to businesses and individuals. By the way, for those of you watching this, how many of you are holding your breath on President Trump now lowering taxes? Is this something that he can literally do? From what I understand, the 2017 Trump Cuts and Jobs Act, a lot of those provisions are still in place. Now, 2025, a lot of Trump Cuts Jobs Act provisions were supposed to expire actually this year. This year and some next year. If Trump wasn't around to enact these new laws to extend it, then a lot of people will be exposed to higher estate taxation and potentially higher income taxation. So I'm looking forward to seeing how President Trump is going to maintain his Trump Cuts Job Act that he passed in 2017 and how that affects us all. We also talked about regulation cuts. By the way, I'm very excited about this. Here's why. Here's why I'm excited about regulation cuts. Okay. I love Apple. I'm just curious. How many of y'all have Apple? How many of y'all have Apple? Put in the comment section. How many of y'all have Apple? And how many of y'all Android? Apple or Android? Put in the comment section below. I'm just curious how many of y'all use Apple versus Android. Same thing too with bigger companies like Facebook and Meta and IG and Google and Amazon. Okay. Heather Bonson says Apple. Okay. I'm just curious how many of y'all do Apple versus Android. Here's my thing for government regulations. Okay. Here's what I'm excited about government regulations is that when we have predominantly only two choices in America, I mean, think about banks too as well. If you only have limited choice when it comes to Apple devices or Android devices, limited choice when it comes to banking, limited choices of who to go online shopping with, limited choices of products and services to business with, to me, that's a danger. I don't like with there's only one or two search engines to use, which is Google, predominantly Google. I mean, by the way, do you guys use any other search engine but Google? Put it in the comment section. Do you use any other search? Do you guys still use Yahoo Finance? I was laughing because my mother dropped off some letters that I wrote her via my AOL email address back in 1999. But there's only one major search engine that everybody uses. That's Google. So that's dangerous. Here's why. We started flirting around with social media advertising to promote our cigars, wealth, and whiskey events here in Dallas. Claudia says Google, no other search engine, right? Google. When we're using social media advertising, we predominantly went through Facebook and Instagram, which is basically the same company, still Meta. So going through that process, what I was dissatisfied with is not necessarily the cost of the advertising. What I was dissatisfied is there's no other competition. All the eyeballs are on Facebook. All the eyeballs are on Instagram. In fact, all the eyeballs from YouTube is right here on YouTube. That's not good. I like competition. I like making sure that Meta stays on its P's and Q's. I like to make sure that YouTube stays on its P's and Q's to competition. I like to make sure that Instagram stays on its P's and Q's to stay in competition. In other words, competition for you and I is actually good because it drives down the cost of the goods and services that you and I are purchasing. So not only inflation needs to come down, I think by getting rid of certain regulation, overreaching government to allow business to really enact free enterprise, to compete for business, to improve, which could cause prices to drop. So therefore they can get more of that business. So business goes over to them. That's what I embody and look at in terms of regulation cuts. We need more cell phones. We need more different types of banks. We need more different search engines. We need a different place to be comfortable with Amazon. Now, that means that our competition got to get better. Those competing companies and those industries have to develop and get better to compete for the business. Okay. And so, so here's some action steps. Rachel says she's also using Apple. Okay. Amen. I haven't seen somebody here that uses Android. So everybody's using Apple right now. Okay. By the way, that's the problem. That's the problem. Not the fact that you're buying Apple, the fact that there isn't any more competitive product that's out there outside of Apple. So when we're looking at Chad Reichel, what's up, Chad? Chad says our bridges are outdated too. Need to get jobs to rebuild and update the infrastructure for sure, 100%. Jose Miranda uses Android. Okay, so of all the folks here in the live chat that uses Apple or Android, we got two here that uses Apple, one that uses Safari versus Google. Okay, all right, Rachel, I see that. Rachel Lane says Safari. All right. So here's some action steps. Number one, I encourage you to buy American products. To be conscious of you supporting local businesses. One of the things that my wife and I are conscious here in Dallas, Texas is, babe, can we support a local farmer? I know we spend a lot of money on food for the children, for our family, for our team, our company, but can we support a local farmer here in Dallas? So not only supporting America, we're supporting the local farmer here around the Dallas area. So you can be more conscious about where your money goes. Be a little bit more of a better steward in terms of who you spend your money with, not necessarily what may be more convenient, but also who you can spend your business to support a local entrepreneur. You can look at Made in USA labels and encourage others to do the same, which leads me to number two, invest in your local community. I'm looking at investing this year into purchasing some office space. I want to stop renting office space. We have a 14,000 square foot office space. I want to own an office space, so therefore I can provide rental space for other people. So I want to take care of real estate here. I want to take care of small business, the cigar spots around here. I'm taking care of in terms of my local community. Volunteer, fund, support local projects. Anybody tell me they got an event and it's an area of my interest? If I can't go, for example, shout out to Reg, who owns Pursuit Clothing. That's who I buy my Jordans through. That's who I buy my like streetwear through. But he said he couldn't come to my event. And what did he do? He bought tickets anyway. He said, hey, Sapala, give this to people that can go. I can't come to your event, but I want to support your event. but give these 2 tickets to somebody that locally can come, and I sponsor them to come to your event, your Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event. Amen. Right? That's what I'm talking about in terms of supporting each other's businesses and each other's events. Third one, Obama said in 2008 that this is an era of personal responsibility. Now, did Obama's presidency usher in an era of personal responsibility or personal dependency on more government projects or more government funding? What President Trump is talking about is an era of common sense, an era of self-reliance to focus on developing skills. So you and I have to do a better job at developing skills that make us indispensable, irreplaceable, and competitive in our market. And when we're looking at, well, Matt, what does that mean? More education? More, yeah, I believe in education, but not at the student-led portion of it. But encourage education, encourage innovation, encourage trade skills. A buddy of mine here, Chad, he's got a plumbing company, and he's recruiting people to help him run his plumbing company. So therefore, he can mentor somebody, coach somebody to start running a plumbing company themselves, and he can coach them, and he's going to coach them and how to branch off from him. So therefore, they can run their own self-sustainable plumbing company. That's an advantage of self-reliance and people helping people. And Bobby, Chad, I love what you said here too, Chad. Nationalism. How do we make sure that we don't look at the word nationalism as a bad word? Bad word says, listen, we want to make sure that our country deals and decisions to the betterment of our country, even though it may be for the betterment of other countries. I want to take care of our nation first. And sometimes when we see ourselves at number one, that we need to help a lot of other people too as well. Yes, by the way, we do. We do need to help other people, but not at the cost of helping ourselves first, because you can't give which way you got. I'll give this example. I'm Filipino, and many of my Filipino cousins and relatives and family members have this mentality that once you made it to America, you owe it to us in the Philippines to send money over here without earning it. You owe it to us because you made it in America to send money over here because you're American and you're much richer than everybody in our family. And you owe it to us here in the Philippines at the detriment of who? At the detriment of me. Because I need to reinvest back into my business without feeling the family guilt of saying, well, look, I can't send money back to the Philippines because I got to expand my business. There's a time for everything. Patrick Bagdavid always talk about timing speed. And so when we're looking at this, self-reliance is make sure that you and I, our education, our innovation, our skills, whether trade, whether tech, entrepreneurship is meant for the betterment of your city, your state, your country. You know, our insurance company, last month we helped a little over 2,000 clients last month. That's 2,000 clients here. We help with life insurance and retirement services to make sure that they're more financially confident of where they are today than they were yesterday. That's to the benefit. So that's an example that your product, your service, your company is helping people here locally, regionally, nationally, to make sure that they're self-sustaining and take care of themselves. Because if people can take care of themselves, today's MLK Day, right? One of the things that Martin Luther King Jr. said, one of the grievances to any man is the fact that he doesn't have the power to economically to support himself, to protect, and to provide. One of the greatest things that a man can have is economic empowerment. Otherwise, there's nothing to hope for. You'll never own anything. You never fight for anything. You're just going through the motions. He said that most men die at 25. They just get buried at 65. Something to be thinking about. To encourage you as you're watching this and share with somebody else that you support, before you support other people, other countries for this matter, you got to take care of you. So when you're looking at what he said here in his inauguration speech, Donald Trump reminded us, as I was taking down these notes, he reminded us that making America great again doesn't just start in Washington. It starts with us. I've often said very many times in our company workshops, our company events, that it doesn't matter what goes on in the White House. The most important thing is what goes on in your house. Well, Matt, the president, the president this, the president that, the president has so much impact. I get it. And I was just sharing with an associate in our office, when's the last time we had a surplus in our country. You know what the last time we had a surplus in our country? That we had more money in the bank than we owed other people? Was during the 90s, during the Clinton era. It's like $375, $600 billion in a bank account. Last time we've had a surplus. And I got involved in the financial services industry in the late 1990s. I served under G.W. Bush, under Clinton. I got involved in financial services. I got my first 4 years was under George Bush, George H. Bush, right? Made my first $100,000, made my first $200,000, made my first $300,000. Then under Obama, I expanded, became a first generation millionaire on paper during the Obama era. Then during the second term Obama era, I lost it all. Okay. And then I rebuilt myself to $1 million status, cash flow millionaire status under Trump. And under Biden in July of 2022, we sold a company for $300 million under President Biden, with Patrick David as the CEO founder and me being the top field leader in the company. We sold for $300 million. So what's my point? Whether it's Trump, Biden, Clinton, Bush's, Obama, to us, it didn't matter. We still progressed in our business by focusing on our city, our state, our country. So yes, making America great again isn't depending on President Trump making us great again. You got to do your part to make sure your home, your faith, your parenthood, your fatherhood, your motherhood is great. But when you buy America, you invest locally, you take care of yourself, you take care of your own house, you and I can build a much stronger future for ourselves and to the next generation. So my question for you is, what step will you take today? My question for you is, what's going to be new for you? Because if you want new money in 25, what's new habits are you going to incorporate in 2025? Please put it in the comment section below. When we look at this inauguration speech and you're thinking about, hey, I got to take care of America, I got to take care of me, you're right. I'm excited at this next era of the next 4 years. President Trump promises that a new golden era of America is about to start. Listen, before I believe Trump, now I believe in what he's going to do, but I want to believe more in what you and I, individuals, subscribers, friends, followers here, what you and I can do together. Let the presidents do their thing. Let the politicians do their thing. We do what we do our part in terms of taking ourselves on a daily basis, on a local basis, with our vote, with our finances, with our daily actions every day. That, to me, how you make America great is by you becoming great. That being said, guys, I appreciate you following the 7 Figure Squad YouTube channel. I just want to get that off my chest. And we got a couple new videos coming out here later on this week. I'm very excited about these videos coming up, so make sure you stay posted on the 7 Figure Squad. I've got, I don't spoil the fun for you guys, but nonetheless, guys, I appreciate you following the 7 Figure Squad. Make sure you subscribe, hit like, drop your thoughts and feedback here, and what you think was going on here with the new president, the new president installation, the inauguration, the 45th and 47th president of America. Here we go. That being said, guys, God bless you, and until we meet again. Continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today. See you next episode. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.